Well, okay, everyone. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Monday. Hey, Josh, it's May the 4th. It's May the 4th, Josh.
May the fourth be with you.
Oh, I was going to let you say it. So it's May the 4th. I hope the 4th is with you and everybody watching. It's Monday morning. It's 9 o'clock here on the East, and we're back for another Command Your Morning. I'm very proud of myself, Josh, because I've been very consistent with these Command Your Mornings, and I'm not usually a consistent. Since I've been quarantined, I've been a lot more consistent than usual, which is pretty interesting. But before we get into my inconsistency, I just want to introduce Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson is a top 100 agent for Keller Williams. He's a top 100 team. I believe you're 43, right? You're 43 out of 100.
I don't keep up with it, but yeah,
Josh doesn't keep up with it, but I do, and I text him all of the rankings every month as they come out. Like, cool, I didn't even see, because Josh has just got his blinders on. He's doing the work. He doesn't worry about rankings. You know who worries about rankings? Andrew Bloom worries about it because he was 6, and he had to be in the top 5 to get an award. He was 6. And they were like, well, you can come, we'll give you a bagged lunch. You can come to the awards, we'll give you a bagged lunch. Anyway, that's a whole other story when I have Andrew on, he can complain. But Josh, thanks for being here. Josh from Tennessee, if people don't know who you are, Josh, why don't you let them know so I don't screw it up? So you go ahead.
Yeah. Josh Anderson, I live in Nashville. Been in the business for 14 years. So I got in the business in April of 2006. Just kind of fast forwarding to 2019, we did a little over 104 million in volume, and that was like 234 transactions, 236, and right at just a little over 3 million in GCI.
Love it. That's amazing. And so the point of Command Your Morning is just to talk about how top agents and leaders in our company kind of get their day started off on the right foot by some sort of morning routine. I've found is that 6 people have something specific that they do every morning, or something that their team does or their organization. And I just want to chat about that for a little bit. Josh, so it's 8 o'clock where you are, or are you Eastern time?
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So what does your morning look like, Josh, for those of you who are wondering what a $104 million team leader does? What does it look like? When do you wake up? What's your process?
Yeah. So I get up very random. I get up at 4:42 every day. Before we had iPhones, it was like I was trying to get to 4:40 or 4:45, and it just kept like rounding around it. And so I just stopped at 4:42. So that has become a conversation piece for whatever reason. So I wake up, work out, have a cup of coffee, and I work out at 5 a.m. We did a garage workout this morning.
Nice.
Yeah. So my wife and I, accountability partners, sometimes that, I usually have to go places for the accountability. So I'm ready for places to open back up so I can go do my hot yoga and do my workouts. So, after I get done with that, wake the kids up and hang out with them, have breakfast. And then 8 a.m. we do all hands on deck. We do a Zoom call every morning for 15 to 20 minutes with the team just to check in. Positive vibes, make sure everybody's, got something going on. If they need anything, need help, whatever, buyer needs. So we do that. And then I jump into my calls from 8:30 to 12 every day.
Right. So I want to talk about your garage workout, because, we've had this back and forth. Josh and I have this, we're in this chat group, which, by the way, I got to rev that chat group back up. It was kind of hot for a while, and it's all my fault. I started it. I didn't continue to lead it, but it ended up being like a workout. I couldn't find dumbbells. Everyone was sold out. And so I couldn't get my workout on. But Josh, what's your workout look like? Because my wife and I have been working out together on our deck. Luckily, we have a big 900 square foot deck, and there's a lot of room there. But what's your workout look like in your garage now that you're having to quarantine with that as well?
Yeah, so it's 45 minutes to an hour. It's depending on what day it is or what workout it is, it's 3 to 5 rounds and of 4 to 5 exercises. I don't have I've never really worked out from home. So I just have kettlebells and some dumbbells and some rubber band, like some bands and different things. But like for box jumps, for example, I pulled out my Yeti and I'm doing box jumps on the Yeti. So it's Bless you. It's like really basic and getting creative, but it makes you realize, all of this makes you realize a lot of things, but you really can do a pretty damn good workout with just your body weight and doing reps. I mean, if you do 3 to 5 rounds of 50 squats, just air squats, and do them correctly, your legs will be jello between that and the lunges and the box jumps and a couple of other things. So
Yeah, for sure. Like we, like we got, some rubber bands, and we got, some dumbbells, and we got like this bench, and I've been really focused on just staying healthy, and I've actually lost about 12 pounds during the quarantine, which I think is in part to the fact that I'm not driving around all day and, oh, there's McDonald's, it's easy to stop over there and get it.
yeah.
Right. So that mixed with being consistent with the exercise. And I'm actually finding that 30 to 45 minute exercises that are like back to back to back to back to back, and then you're getting cardio involved, are much more effective than you're at the gym and you're like walking around. Next thing you know, you've been there 2 hours. Like, what the heck? You know what I mean?
30 minutes is really all you need. I mean, ours is probably 45 to an hour with like warm-up stretches and cooling down stretches and things like that. But it's really probably about a 25 to 35-minute workout.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, so then I love that you wake up the kids. Well, let's back up for a second. What's the 4:42? I know it's a conversation piece for you, but why you set your alarm for 4:42?
Yeah, it's just this random time. And it originally started with like an alarm clock on the nightstand, not with my iPhone. So this was like 15 years ago or more. And so I just had a clock on my nightstand, and you push it down and it like fast forwards really quick. And I was trying to get it to 4:40 or 4:45. And after doing that like 3 times, I just ended at 4:42.
Oh, yeah.
Now people are like, I know what time you wake up. It's 4:42. And I'm like, yeah.
So you it was just a matter of not being able to get the number right.
Yeah, it was me being lazy after like 3 rounds. It was nothing scientific, nothing.
Because once you miss it, you got to type it. You got to keep clicking the button.
Yeah,
I gotcha. It's all good. So, all right. So you have breakfast with the kids, and then on your 8 o'clock huddle with your team, what's that look like? What do you typically talk about?
So a lot of it is just checking in, making sure everybody's there, just to like, we've had a lot of stuff going on in Nashville and obviously all over, but we had a tornado right before the pandemic stuff. And then we had like a borderline tornado last night. And so we're just checking in with everybody, making sure they're good. We've got a group text as well, and just making sure they're good. What's on their calendar for today? What is their one thing that they're going to work toward today to get done? And a lot of times it's just phone calls and, hey, I've got these appointments, or I'm FaceTiming these properties. So it's really just to kind of check in and see everybody's faces and kind of start the day positive, because we can't see each other around the office.
Right. So, and by the way, anyone watching on Facebook or watching on Zoom, feel free to jump in and ask a couple questions for Josh. I mean, you got a top 100 agent on here, for crying out loud. There's got to be some sort of question you have for the guy. So, but we got a lot of people watching, which is great. So, right now with Tennessee in terms of COVID, are you able to, what's it like there? Are there a good amount of cases? Is everything closed? How are you doing business?
Yeah, so we're still in an essential business, but it really hasn't. I mean, you've had to implement the technology piece, which has been great, but it's we've got a decent amount of cases, but I think it's gotten people out it's almost accelerated a lot of people's searches, and then there's other people that are just completely on the sidelines. So it's been good. We've done a lot of FaceTime with people that aren't either local or regional. So like people that are moving from California, places like that can't get here. So we're doing a lot of FaceTime with them. But, I had a lot of listings that, I'd been working on, but a lot of other listings that just kind of past clients that came out of the blue that wanted to list all their lots for sale or all their investment properties. I mean, I listed 7 properties for one guy, just like in a 3-day period, and they all went under contract. So the market's been really good. I mean, I think we're around 35 million-ish closed year to date. And then we've got another 42 pending or something like that. So it's definitely off. I think the biggest thing is like, feeding your brain right now, feeding your mind for the mindset piece. I listen to lots of podcasts and Two books I'm reading right now. I know one of the things you asked me was like, what are you reading?
Right.
And I think this is a really good Patrick Lencioni, Death by Meeting. It's a pretty cool book because I think that's like a real bottleneck for a lot of people. Team meetings or just meetings in general across all industries are really boring, and people come out tired, and they're not energized when they leave. They're not like pumped up to do something. So really revamping. And that was one of the things I listened to this podcast with Patrick on it. And it was just it was like a big aha for me of like, all right, we got to keep, no matter how good our team meetings are, we got to keep ramping them up and revamping them and making them better so people can leave really excited and wanting to go crush their goals and figure out how to help more people.
That's I love that. I love that mindset because, yeah, right now, all we're having is meeting. Yeah. And you got to have some sort of aspect to it where, like, how are you winning, right?
Right.
It's very easy right now to focus on what didn't work out, right? Like you've got 35 million closed. It's May, right? Like you're still on a really good track, with 40 pending. And so listen, you can only control what you can control, and you just got to keep going, and you're utilizing FaceTime and other forms of digital communication to continue to help your clients, which is awesome. Hey, there's a couple questions here, Josh. So what's your team look like? Before you answer that, one of the things I love about Josh is that his team's very lean, right? He doesn't have a lot of people. So those 230 something transactions from last year and 104 million, you'd be surprised so let everybody know what that looks like.
Yeah. So we've got 15 people on the team. I've got two kind of senior agents that have been on the team for 8 and 10 years. And then myself as the mostly listings. And then everybody else on the team that's an agent, the other 3 or 4 agents are like 2 years or newer. So they've gone through kind of our junior agent program or as a showing specialist and kind of moving up from there. And then the rest of our team, about 50% of our team is administrative. So we've got a director of operations, a director of marketing, listing manager, transaction coordinator, and then we've got 2 virtual assistants and an ISA.
So the agent count on your team is
7.
smaller, right?
Yeah.
7, and they're very productive. And I love that because and not that there's anything wrong with this, but a lot of times you hear teams doing 100 million and there's like 30 agents on the team.
Yeah.
Right, but you've got like 7 and you said one of them has been on your team for like 10 years, right?
Yeah. I think when you have 30 agents on your team and you're doing that size, the problem is everybody's doing like 10, 15 deals maybe. And I want our agents to go look up and be doing 36, 40, 50 transactions because I'm taking everything else off their plate. So like they're lead generating, they're showing properties, and they're writing or negotiating offers. And that's it. I don't want them doing the administrative stuff. I don't want them even scheduling their showings. I don't want them, even asking for Google reviews and some of our reviews that we get. Like that's all done administratively for the most part.
So you take a lot off their plate, like even down to, scheduling when they're going to see the properties. They just basically do the consult, find out what the client wants, and then your admin team will kind of schedule those properties for whatever day and time.
Yeah. So the problem with our industry is like, if you're an individual agent, you are expected to do everything. You're the marketing person, social media, you're the admin, you're the therapist, you're the everything. And so like you can't work with more than a couple of people or have a couple of listings without working 15-hour days and just being completely, bogged down. And then you end up giving crappy customer service or client experience. And so that was my thought, was like, all right, let's have a really strong administrative team that can provide all those things. So we're constantly updating people, even if the agents are out in the field showing properties.
And by the way, Josh is just about to hire a team therapist, like you just said. So his agents really don't have to do anything. They're getting a licensed therapist. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Bethany Nelson's watching. What's up, Bethany? She has a question. Are you readjusting your 2020 goals, or are you keeping them the same?
Right now, we're just keeping them the same. I personally think that we can still, so our goal was to cross over the 100 million mark in 2019. So our goals this year are 135 million. And I still think, it will be a struggle to get there, but we still have the ability to do it. I mean, we've really, about 75% of our business is past client, and we've really been loving on our database and checking in. I mean, I've got clients, just like all of you guys, I've got clients that have lost their jobs. I've got a husband and wife. He actually used to work for me, and he's a past client, and he, his wife lost her job, which was about 40% of the household income. And then 2 days later, he lost his job. And so we're just like reconnecting with those people and going, hey, can we give you a hot meal? Can we send you something? How can we help? We're doing lots of bingo and trivia nights. We're doing those this week. We did a reverse bold 100. We announced the winner on May 1st. That was for Mother's Day. It was a Dyson Supersonic blow dryer that's $400 or whatever. But we didn't hit our reverse bold 100. We got 87 or 90 people called in though. And it was really good strategic giving.
So I love that you did a trivia night like on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
With your past clients.
Mm-hmm.
And you had, how many people you think show up for that?
60 to 75.
So the fun thing about that is I've been talking about this, there's agents out there that are very sphere heavy and database heavy and past clients and referrals, and also client event heavy. And,
got to shift it up a little bit.
What's that?
I said, you just got to shift it up a little bit. I mean, we have some awesome client events, and we pretty much had to cancel the first half of the years. Like one was a movie event, and nobody wants to go to the movies, although there's probably nobody there, so it's probably safe. But, it's one of those things that, we just felt. So we're doing a lot of Easter. We did picture giveaways, and we dropped pictures in the comments and gave away a brunch. We're doing a Father's Day right now. That one's about to start in the next week and a half or so, 2 weeks. So we're just I don't know. We've got a magician on the books. That's more for the kids.
A magic show via Zoom. And one of the things, instead of doing movie nights, Josh is actually sharing his Netflix login with everybody. So don't worry. Text him.
The cool part is it's not my Netflix logins. It's somebody else's. So I'll give it to you.
Yeah, right. So, hey, that's awesome. I've been saying do virtual client events because that is actually much more effective in the sense of talking to people because you're right there and everyone's so you kind of, and a lot of great relationships can be formed that way. So it's a great idea. Hey, somebody's wondering, what's the biggest, Kenny Heaton, who's watching, what's the biggest thing that's changed your day-to-day before COVID-19 to now?
I think the biggest thing, my schedule and everything's almost identical. My office and my house are about 300 yards apart. So I've been coming to the office, so I'm still quarantined, but
right.
I've been coming to the office because I just need to, for whatever reason, and I know some people can work from home. For me, I just need to come to the office. We don't actually have a spot in our house where we can really, I can really go have an office.
For
so
sure.
Mine hasn't really changed. I think what I've been feeding myself more of is all these podcasts and going back to some of these books. I did Gary's Mastermind was last Wednesday for the 2 million plus or whatever in GCI. And so I wrote all those notes, and then I went back and typed all those notes, and I've been just reading and refiltering all that stuff. Another book I always pick up and read, Tools of Titans.
Dude.
Harris.
Stop it. I have it right here.
I know, it's a good book. I actually was reading page 169 today, and it's be your unapologetically weird self. And it was just talking about be authentic and be yourself. And that's what people love about you is the weirdness. And
have you read the chapter about General Stanley McChrystal?
Yes.
Dude, I love that chapter, man. Yeah. I could read the chapter every day.
So many good things. And I didn't think that this book, Death by Meeting, was going to be good, but it's a business fable, and it's been really awesome. So.
Hey, so what are some of the podcasts you're listening to? Kathy on the call is curious. You mentioned one. Are there any other good ones that you recommend for someone who's kind of just started to get into the business? What would you recommend, or just overall?
So there's so many good ones. I actually just posted a link in the chat box on Zoom, and we can copy that over to Facebook. But that's the one that Patrick Lencioni is being interviewed on. You know, there's so many good ones. Like, I love The One Thing because it's easy, good nuggets, and it's stuff I've already heard. It's just like, how often do we need to rehear things? Probably my favorite podcast of all time is Business Wars.
I love Business Wars.
Dude, it's just
episode for those of you who don't know Business Wars. Business Wars is a podcast, and they do it like an old time radio show. And they take, and it's like one business versus another in the same category.
The most recent that I listened to was Walmart versus Amazon, which is really good. And Jeff Bezos like totally stole so many Walmart executives. It was kind of crazy. But probably my favorite, I mean, I don't know. There was my Ferrari versus Lamborghini was pretty awesome. I mean, there's so many good ones. Like, there's so many good ones.
Coke versus Pepsi was a good one. I mean, Netflix versus Blockbuster obviously is a good one.
Yep.
Nintendo versus Sega. My kid loves and my 7-year-old loves to listen to it too, because it's like when you're listening to it, they're acting it out like an old time radio show. It's very, very creative. So definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Hey, so you were in Gary's top mastermind for GCI. What's like one or two really great nuggets that you took away from that people would appreciate?
I think the biggest nuggets were like, I mean, this is just like basic stuff, but I mean, you know, Gary, one of the first things Gary said was like, guys, like I never take naps. He's like, I'm more tired than I can ever remember in my entire life. And it kind of resonated with me because I feel like I've been just working my ass off compared to, I mean, I don't know that I'm working anymore. It's just like I'm talking people off ledges. I'm doing a lot more Zoom calls, and my body, like, I'm not conditioned for some of these things. And so it's been awesome. And I've always called my database, but it's just like different conversations. Some of the conversations are 40 minutes long. So when you're calling your database, go love on them, but be prepared that they're going to tell you, when you say, how are you? You better be prepared for some real stuff. Like they're going to tell you some real stuff. And then, so he also did he did an interview that he played an interview that or a conversation he had with Keith Cunningham, and Keith had some really good nuggets across there. One of them was, God, I'm going to butcher it. I can't think of what it is right now. Basically, God, I want to grab it real quick. All right, here's my notebook. I take all my silly notes in here. You know, here's one of the things Gary also said. Gary's selling some of his properties, his lower performing properties that he can't do anything else with. He's maximized them. And so it's interesting to see somebody that, and he doesn't have to sell them. He's not, you know, whatever. But even these guys are looking at the numbers going, hey, this is the new normal for a while. And this is going to be, you know, weird. So these weren't really like business takeaways. I mean, they were, but they're more like, you guys need to be looking at your expenses. You need to really be digging in, love on your database, kind of service first, like mind share, but care about people and do the service first, and the business will come later. And I think people get caught up in, they see these big producers on stage being interviewed by Gary or whoever, and they get caught up in the transaction and the transactional nature rather than like what their business really looks like. My business is really profitable because we really just don't buy leads. We don't do any of that stuff. We just do lots of client events, and I break bread with people, and I don't know. That's how my business works.
Josh, like speaking of which, I talk about you in some classes that I teach, and when it comes to database, because one of the reasons that you're so profitable is because most of your business is past clients and friends and family, and you pay really close attention to your database and what people are doing and when people are having babies and they're moving up. And so like what I found really interesting was, I remember because you did an episode on my podcast when your volume went up substantially, but your unit count didn't really go up that much. And that's because you increased your price point because you were paying attention to your database and what people were doing. And so you were saying you're going to hit the phones for the next 3 hours. Are you calling your database? Who are you calling? Are you prospecting, cold calling? What type of
it's all kind of mixed in now, but most of it is some sort of past client check-ins. and then some seller leads. I don't do for sale by owner. I don't do expireds anymore. I just, our database is big enough. And until I have kind of a concierge ISA, I just don't think that you can, I don't think that you can hand that off ever really, because your clients are working with you because of you. They know you, they like you, and they trust you. So the quote that I was trying to think of, this is kind of the bumper sticker version of it, but it's current expenses consume future oxygen. And he was just kind of talking about the idea of being lean, and like, you know, good markets conceal and bad markets reveal. And so the idea is like when everything's good, you can run not as lean as usual. But when a bad market comes in, you really got to get dialed into what your expenses are. And if you really look at your credit card statements every month, or you look at your business P&L, you'll notice, like, I don't know, I look at this stuff and go, God, I haven't gotten a return on investment from that. You know, it could be as simple as a $9 whatever. But you just don't get a return on some things, and you just got to look at, like, do we need that? Like for me,
sure.
I love video stuff. We do a lot of video. I just got rid of viral last week because I realized, I looked up and said, I love what those guys are doing, but for me, for $550 a month, we're doing all the videography and the editing. I mean, our videographer is doing all this stuff. And so, like, we're using the same newsletter. Like, there's nothing that we're not doing or capable of doing. And that's $6,000 a year.
For sure. Hey, and Sarah Miller, she's your director of operations.
Yeah.
I do have to get back to her because
she's told me to reach out to you.
Well, no, because I said I would help you with some Facebook ads through Command. So I'm gonna, and now after this call, I'll shoot her a message and get on the calendar. So that's holding me accountable. So I definitely want to help you with that. But yeah. So Josh, someone was, where's your database held currently right now? Like, what do you use for that?
So we use, we are in Commissions Inc., and all of our stuff has basically been transferred over to Command. We just haven't fully, we're making sure all the data is at a really high level, labels, like everything's done correctly before we're 100% over. So,
so like tags and birthdays and addresses, and you just want to make sure all that stuff is in there before you.
Well, and they're printing out all my call lists right now, so I can put notes next to them on, like, I mean, our database is broken out. Like, I want to know who the attorneys in our database are. I want to know who the financial advisors are. I want to know. So it's a little bit OCD and kind of ridiculous, but it's because I can pull and search really easily that way. So, Melissa, you were asking, how do I keep my team motivated right now? Part of it is just sending them the information that I'm getting from people in Gary's group, podcasts I'm listening to. And there's definitely some one-off. I mean, we've got a couple people on the team that are really struggling right now because they're really high personalities. And they're just like, I need to, like, physically be around other humans, and I need to hug them, and I need to do these things. And so it's just talking through it with them and going, guys, this is just the new norm, and it's going to open up at some point, but it is what it is.
Yeah, totally. Like, a lot of people are struggling with this situation. I'm actually very high I too, but I'm actually not struggling as much as I thought I would. But I understand that, you know, there's a need for that face-to-face communication, and I think that, like, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we'll get back there in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, we're going to take, you know, some precautions. But
so much of all this is just like, it's just showing up and being present, and like, it's really like what you are putting in your brain right now, because it's easy to be in fear mode, uncertainty, and like watch the news and get really down in the dumps.
Right.
Or you can just put your head down and grind it out like you always have been, and love on your people, and that's it. Like, it's nothing, there's no rocket science. It's just doing it.
One more question before we jump off. So with you running a team and keeping everybody else from jumping off ledges, what are you doing for yourself to keep your mental state, you know, clear? And
I think the big piece is making sure that I'm working out every day, making sure that you know, just like loving on the wife and kids, and just kind of, you got to laugh. I mean, you got to just have fun, because this can get like really serious. And I think you just got to like go find some humor, go turn on some comedy, like go find something funny. And just, you know, we're all going to make it through. It's just, it's a challenge.
Yeah,
2020 is challenging us so far.
Staying going all in on the family, you know, at certain times of the day, and on the weekends, and things like that, you know, just appreciating the people that are you're with, you know, all the time, you know, like
We've been going to our farm every weekend, and so it's been nice that I work really hard during the week to like know that on Friday I'm going to the farm. We've got a river, and just like kind of check out.
sweet. I love that, man. That's awesome. Yeah, we went hiking. We got a pool, like a blow up pool. We put it on the deck this weekend, and we were just like having a good time. But yeah, for sure, that's some great advice. Well, Josh, I appreciate you being on the call. There were some good nuggets, a lot of back and forth and questions going on, and you know, I'm glad that people were participating. But Josh has to hit the phones.
I have to hit the phones. I'm 4 minutes behind.
Oh, he's 4 minutes behind. I gotta hold you accountable. Go hit the phones and have an awesome day. And I appreciate you taking the time, and we will talk soon.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.